Hello and welcome to YourTown television program. I'm your host, Paula Joy MacNab. And once again, I have the privilege of having a fascinating guest whom I met a long time ago. We were talking about it, surprising how long ago it was. Ron Mendoza. Ron is a fantastic pastry chef, has a great story, has created an exciting, very dangerous new business called Revival Ice Cream. Dangerous to me, it's my guilty pleasure. Ron, welcome to the program.
Hello, how you doing?
Thank you for being here. I've been so excited to see you again.
Thanks for inviting me. Again.
It's been a long time since we talked on my radio program, Passion by Design.
Definitely.
Back on Cannery Row.
Yep.
Yeah, so life has moved you forward. But first, I want to tell who you are and some of your background because it's fascinating. Why does someone become a pastry chef? And pastry encompasses obviously a lot of things, ice cream being one, and lots of interesting things there. So tell us some about your background because that informs what you're doing with this exciting new business on Alvarado Street in Monterey.
Definitely. It does explain a lot.
Yeah.
I was working out of high school. I was working retail for actually like 7 years. I didn't know what to do, but I always enjoyed cooking at home. And I didn't come from the background where it's like, family or parents or anything like that.
Were you
Nothing
cooking
like
at your
that.
mother's knee? That
No,
kind of thing?
and that's the weird part of it.
Interesting.
But I cooked for myself. And I felt comfortable in the kitchen. I was like, oh, that's something I could do. Like, that's a real job. And so I kind of did everything I could to go into it. I was knocking on doors of restaurants. I finally went to culinary school. And really, luckily, I was a little bit older, as I said, not straight out of high school. And,
right.
And so when I started, I just dove headfirst into it.
Now, where did you go to school?
Los Angeles. I actually went to school in Pasadena. I was living in Los Angeles. I was living in Long Beach. I went to culinary school in Pasadena and working in downtown Los Angeles.
Right.
So I had my whole day was work, school for 15 months.
Wow.
Long days. But it was fun. It was totally worth it. And like I said, when I started, I knew what I wanted to do from the beginning. I knew I wanted to work in fine dining restaurants. I knew that they would offer me the most opportunities and to work with the best products and the best techniques and get the most out of it. And so that's what I did. It was working in the best restaurant in the city and then hopefully one of the best restaurants in the country, which I eventually did.
Yes, you did.
And I learned a lot.
So how did you choose pastry? Because it seems to me that when you're, and correct me if I'm wrong here, when you're embarking upon a culinary program of study, you're exposed broadly to most things.
Yeah.
And at what point does one choose that specialty?
Well, that's the thing is I didn't think I was going to do pastry. I wanted to be a chef.
That's what I hear every pastry chef say.
Oh, totally. It is completely true.
Interesting.
And it wasn't until after I got out of culinary school and I was working in a restaurant called Patina in Los Angeles, and I was working, they called it the garde manger station, so the cold appetizers and things. But the pastry station was right next to me.
Of course.
And all the time I was looking at what they were doing, and I'm like, how do you make that? How do you make that? How do you do that? And eventually the chef was like, you know what? We'll put you in that station for about 3 months, and then we'll move you on.
Yes.
And 3 months ended up being like 16 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, and you know what it is? It's highly creative.
Yes.
It's slightly scientific. I love like chemistry and physics.
You're good at chemistry.
And so and it really brings art and science together in such a wonderful way that it's so exciting and so invigorating with what you're doing and creating
Love
things.
that.
And that's I got stuck.
Love that.
Yeah.
Well, stuck in a really great place. So
Definitely.
So then you came up to Napa.
Yeah, so from there, Los Angeles, like I said, I want to work in the best restaurant in the city. I was in the city, what was considered the best restaurant at the time, and then kind of that happened, and I wanted to work in one of the best restaurants in the country. So I ended up getting a job at the French Laundry in Napa Valley.
We've heard of that one.
Yeah,
just
slightly
heard of that one. Slightly famous. Oh,
I had to
fabulous.
I actually had to go up there and do a tasting for Thomas Keller and the pastry chef and the chef de cuisine there, and just do 3 dessert courses and about 6 different petit fours. And then I had an interview with Thomas Keller in his backyard.
Oh, that gives me chills just thinking about the pressure.
Oh, yes. I was up there for 4 days and like prepping and everything, and that was pretty nerve-wracking. It's hard to, I don't know if I've had much more of a nerve-wracking experience
Oh,
than
I
that.
can't think of one much more nerve-wracking than that.
And at the
so
time...
how quickly did they tell you?
I was going to say, at the time, I had another job lined up in upstate New York. And
Wow, that's different.
yeah, I was like, okay, maybe I'll move from either Napa or New York and just
Wow.
kind of get out of LA and
Right.
broaden my horizons.
Right.
And about 8 days later, they called me back from the French Laundry and offered me a pastry sous chef. So it wasn't just a cook's job; it was
Right.
underneath the pastry chef, the assistant of the pastry
Wow.
chef. And I took that job, and I had to call the other place on the East Coast, and they're like, "Well, we can't really compete with Thomas Keller, so we understand." And I was just like,
Oh, that's
okay. So I was there in Napa for about like a year and a half.
Wow,
Yeah.
what
And
an
it was an
amazing
amazing
experience.
Definitely.
So then you came down to Carmel.
Yeah, I actually miss the ocean.
Yeah,
Really
well,
is
one
kind of
does.
what it is. I
One
mean,
does.
obviously we're here in
Yeah.
Carmel, Monterey,
Yeah.
and I grew up in Long Beach, so
Oh.
I was always near the ocean.
Water
and,
boy, yeah.
And yeah, definitely. Even though I don't even get in the water,
Yeah,
it's just but it's
I'm with you.
driving by there and being there. It's
part of us.
Yeah, and I had the opportunity to be the pastry chef at L'Auberge Carmel and the restaurant Aubergine.
You just really go for these, low-level places,
Yeah,
Ron.
exactly.
I tell
Well,
you.
see, isn't that it? I
Talk
told
about
you.
shooting for the
Yeah,
stars.
and that was the thing
Wow.
when I started culinary school, and
Wow.
like that was it. And I knew because I was 25, and there were kids that were like 17, 18 years old, like wanting to
Yes.
be chefs, and I'm like, okay, like I better know what I'm doing.
You bet.
And I did my research. I read cookbooks. I did everything. I worked long hours. I did everything I could
Right.
to do that. And it pays off. It really does.
Yes.
Yeah.
So would that be some advice you would give to some aspiring chefs?
Oh, definitely. Know what you're getting into, and try and define what it is that you like about that career and what you want out of it.
Right.
Because it will give it to you if you know what you
It
want.
will give it
Yeah.
to you. Oh, I
Yeah,
love that.
For sure.
So you are now embarking on a whole new exciting venture
Yes.
called Revival Ice Cream.
Mm-hmm.
So many questions. The name,
Yeah.
the concept, what makes you different? I know, because I've been into your amazing shop. As I said, it's very dangerous territory
Yeah,
for me
yeah.
because I'll
I
have
haven't heard that description, but that's a good
that,
one.
and that, and that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh no,
I know.
I'm total guilty pleasure is your shop.
Yeah.
So people ask you, what makes you different? So tell our viewing audience what Revival Ice Cream is
Yeah.
and why should we care?
Definitely. Revival is what it is. It's about being handcrafted and making things from scratch. It's part of the name. It's a revival of bringing back something that was forgotten or sort of long lost.
Yes.
The artisan quality of it.
Yes.
And we've gotten to be very commercialized in so many things.
Right.
And it's bringing back. We make everything from scratch. We use pretty much 95% organic ingredients. We try and be as sustainable as possible within all
right.
the things that we do. One of the big things that I wanted to do in starting the shop was to make our own custard bases, where
Right.
most places actually buy a custard from a dairy plant.
Right.
So they don't know the recipe, they're not cooking anything, and we're literally cooking everything from scratch. And what that does is it allows us to develop more flavor
Right.
and more nuances, and even change like how much cream and fat and sugars and things like that. So it's my decision and not this recipe that it's not mine, So it's my recipes, and so we're able to do that. So we try and make it so it's not too high in fat and
Right.
not too sweet.
Right.
And we're able to use much more natural ingredients. And that's one of the big things is using real food. I know a lot of companies out there, you could look on the ingredient labels and they're things that you've never heard of. And
Oh, and if
literally-
you can't pronounce them, that's
if you can't
generally
pronounce
not
them,
good to put it in your body.
Totally, exactly, and that's exactly it. And everything that we do is they're things that you can get at the grocery store or at the farmer's market. And again, like I said, we're making everything from scratch. So I know the story of every single product that we're selling. And that's what's a fun thing, whereas you can go to some other places and that's not necessarily the case. And, it used to be like that a long time ago. You used to have
Right.
bakers and butchers and pastry shops and anything like that.
Right.
And it was all there to know what was going on. And it's bringing that idea back.
So how receptive are people to this idea? I mean, obviously, it's something different. It's not seen everywhere.
Yeah.
What kind of response do you get from people coming in the shop?
It's actually incredible. I am pleased and surprised, and there's nothing like when I'm scooping, or I just happen to be out front when I get out of the kitchen, and people literally come up to me and say, "Thank you for opening this place up."
Wow.
I mean, that's incredible.
That's pretty great.
Yeah, and it's because again, it's offering a story, and it's offering something that is tangible and something that people can relate to. It's like you said, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Yet
In the best possible
making
way.
in the best possible way, and
Yeah.
that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Ice cream is a treat.
Yes.
It is
Oh.
definitely a treat, and it's a good one. But why not have it to where it's something that's not too guilty? You know,
Right.
you're actually we're putting in organic milk,
Yes.
organic sugar, organic eggs.
Yes.
You know, we just got one of my favorite flavors right now is with elderflowers that I get from Carmel Berry Company. They're grown in Carmel. So we get elderflowers and steep the custard with that, and we get rhubarb that's grown in the Bay Area and make a rhubarb jam that we make ourselves, and we put that into ice cream.
Oh my word.
And you know, it talks about springtime, it talks about local, it talks about organics, it talks about sustainability, all of those things, and it's a treat.
It is a total treat.
No.
It is a total treat, and one that you feel good about when you eat, because it is all of those things.
Yeah.
So what is the difference between an ice cream and a gelato?
Yeah.
And what are you doing in the gelato world?
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, really, ultimately, they're the same things. They're made from the same products.
Yes.
They're just kind of served in a different way. Typically, gelato is something that is, they turn it out of the machine each day, so it's a little bit softer. It's somewhere in between
Okay.
soft serve. And it's usually lower in fat, so not as much heavy cream.
Right.
Whereas my recipe is kind of along that side. What we do is considered hard ice cream, so it's something that's scoopable. And you see that, you know, you buy it per the scoop, a single scoop or double scoop.
Sure.
And that's really the only thing. Ours is served a little bit colder of a temperature, so it's got a little bit more of a chew, kind of like the ice creams that you would get at a grocery store or something
Right.
like that, whereas gelato is technically a little bit softer.
Yes.
So in saying that, yes. So there's not a lot of things in the ice cream world, I guess, you know, competition-wise, but there
Right.
is in the gelato world. 2 weeks ago, I entered this World of Gelato Tour competition in Los Angeles, where they're going to pick the best gelato in the world. And I
Wow.
qualified to represent North America.
Wow.
In
To represent North America?
Yes, to represent North America in Italy in September. So I'm taking one of our flavors. Our winning flavor now is called Bee's Knees.
Bee's knees.
Yes,
oh my
yes.
God, you have to tell us about that.
And
Okay.
that's a perfect example of, you know, what we try and do at Revival. You can go a lot of places and get honey ice cream,
Right.
or you know, put honey into it. So ours it's a little bit different. We actually use 3 different parts of what the bees produce. We use the beeswax that they produce. We use the honey, and we use bee pollen.
Bee pollen. I wondered
Which
about
is
which
a-
is fantastically
Super good for you,
healthy
right?
for
Exactly,
you.
exactly.
Oh my gosh, I'll be right over.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and that's kind of the idea.
bad.
Yeah, for sure. There's the danger part, huh?
That's the danger part.
Yeah, the good and the danger.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I entered this, and you know, it was what it was when the judges rated it, because everyone else was doing fantastic things. But I think what it is that it had a story, because I was using
Yes.
local ingredients,
Yes.
local to Monterey, local to where we are, and that's the idea. And it was something also comforting and nostalgic, just being honey.
Yes.
But it was also presented in such a new way that they were taken aback, and they were like, "This is sort of the future of what something that has such a history, gelato, ice cream, frozen
Right.
desserts has, and pushing it forward into the future of really thinking about what it could be instead of just a pistachio or a chocolate
Yes.
or something like that."
Yes.
And I think that's kind of what did it. So yeah, in September I go to Rimini, Italy, and
Oh, my
go up
goodness.
against like 36 other people from all over the world, literally. And I think it's like a 4-day event, and they're going to judge the best gelato in the
Oh,
world.
well, I'll have you back after that.
Yeah,
no matter
definitely.
what happens, just the fact that you are going is just phenomenal.
It's amazing.
It's very
Yeah,
phenomenal.
yeah.
Phenomenal. You have to practice your Italian too.
I know. Yeah, totally.
So, question for you, and you raise a point about presentation. And I know that in food and the culinary world, presentation goes through lots of different fads and trends and so
Yeah.
forth. What are you seeing? What are you creating? Because I think you're on the forefront, is what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Ron, is in the presentation of ice cream. Tell us about that.
Well, I think that was one of the things with Revival, again, is, you know, ultimately it's an ice cream shop.
Right.
And so all the things, if you look on the menu, they're things that you can get anywhere. We have a single scoop and a kid's scoop and a double, and then we're doing floats and we're doing shakes. But, you know, one example is our floats. We're not buying root beer or Coke or Sprite. We actually make our own ginger beers. We make our own kombucha. We make our own sodas. So that becomes
Wow.
our float. So again,
Wow.
we're using fresh herbs and spices and fruits and vegetables that we're juicing by hand and cutting and chopping, and that becomes the float instead of something purchased from a large manufacturer and just opening
Interesting.
up bottles. So that, to me, now is the new form of presentation. We have ice cream bars and ice cream sandwiches, and we're making all the cookies, and we're hand dipping ice cream bars and ice cream cakes. based on a lot of the flavors that we have. So again, it's kind of upping the level of what would be a traditional ice cream shop that was kind of, it becomes an afterthought, I think, on how they present things and how they do everything. And we're trying to make it much more forward-thinking and fashionable. And then
Well,
in
and
that,
it sounds fun too.
that's exactly it.
Are
And
you going to be teaching this?
actually, we do. Yesterday,
Yay!
honestly, yesterday we had students from a bunch of about 25 homeschool students. You know, another part of Revival is being a part of the community.
Exactly.
And we actually have, within the last 2 weeks, we have 3 different groups coming to the kitchen doing tours, and we talk about the ice cream production, and they get to taste things, and it's really cool getting out there. I think we've already done like 7 different visits into the kitchen. And
Wow.
and that's another thing, you know, to be transparent as well as a company, as what we're doing. And, you know, even in the shop, the way it's designed is there's a kitchen into the window,
Well,
or a window into the kitchen.
a beautiful design of the shop,
yeah.
beautifully built by Noel McNamee, the
Yeah,
contractor.
yeah, totally.
And a little shout out to Noel there. But it's beautiful. It's clean and elegant and
Clean. It has
open to
an
you,
open,
and you
organic
come out
feel.
when
Yeah.
people walk in. It's
And that's the difference
fantastic.
between like fine dining.
Yes.
You know, my history was fine dining, and that's why it took me, like you said, we talked to each other, you know, years ago
Yes.
when I was at Aubergine, and you know, you're in the back of the kitchen, you're not meeting everybody, but it's also highly creative. So it took
Right.
me a long time to kind of step out of that scene that I was doing for such a
Oh,
long
of
time,
course, of
working in
course.
French Laundry and working in these great restaurants, and. So for me to do ice cream, I had to do it I wanted to do it in such a way that it would still give me the same enthusiasm
Yes.
and creativity. And so that's what we do. And along with the creativity, you know, we're talking about being, in the company, being sustainable.
Yes.
You know, we do everything that we can. We even started getting stainless steel straws for our shakes, that if someone wants to purchase, they can use a stainless steel
Excellent.
straw.
Excellent.
We use stainless steel tasting spoons.
Right.
You know, when we first opened up, because we only have 12 flavors in the shop,
Right.
but it's enough. It's a good variety.
Right,
And we were doing tasting spoons. We went through so many because everyone wanted to
Oh,
try every single flavor
everything.
because they're so
Well,
different.
I would.
Yeah, yeah. There's no relation to anything, so they want to try everything. So
Right.
we look at sustainability in the things that we're doing as well. Organic
Interesting.
products, sustainability, and that's the way we see our ice cream shop, our business.
So we've just got another minute, but
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure and have you tell our viewing audience where you're located and how they can find you.
Yes, definitely.
And they'll be seeing me down there too.
One of the great things, Revival, it speaks for itself in the sense we're downtown Monterey, right on Alvarado, 463 Alvarado.
Yes.
And downtown Monterey is becoming a great scene now.
It's becoming
And
a happening place.
we want to be a part of it. We want to be one of the people at the head of it and also a part of it and bring everyone else along. And I want every other shop I want you know, Alvarado to just be where people go and
you
hang out.
are driving that, and I am so thrilled, and I am definitely going to be down there more frequently. Thank you for
Awesome.
being with us.
Thanks a lot.
I'm your host, Paula Joy MacNab. This is Your Town television program. Thanks for watching.